This is how I budget my $95,000 salary as someone who's prioritizing saving and building wealth in my 20s. This is my super simple budgeting template that I use to organize my money. I like to call it my anti-budget template because I don't track every single penny I spend, and this is not meant to do so. After taxes and pre-tax deductions, my monthly income comes to $5,000. I'll drop below how much I put into my 401k and my HSA. I'm going to come back to this fixed cost living section in a minute, but first I want to go to my savings and investment buckets, which I always look at first whenever I'm revisiting my budget. For my savings, I contribute 30% of my post-tax income to my high yield savings account, so that comes to $1,500 a month. Personally, don't have different savings accounts for different goals, and I don't really break out how much money is going to each goal because I'm kind of lazy when it comes to budgeting, but you can definitely do that in this section here, like write out your different goals and how much money you want going to each one. Next, for my post-tax investments, I just increased my investment goal from 15 to 20% of my post-tax income, which brings me to $1,000 a month. I do have this one split out. $583 of this is going to my Roth IRA and $417 is going to my general brokerage. Next, we'll go back to my fixed living expenses section. These are all of my big main expenses I have on a month-to-month basis. The biggest change in this section is the decrease in our mortgage. We just had 2 roommates move in with us, and that basically halved our mortgage payments for my boyfriend and I. This brings the rough estimate of my monthly living expenses to $1,500. I also like to add a 5% buffer to that number for anything that I'm forgetting about, or variations in bills that happen from month to month, or any unexpected costs. I actually track more to this $1,600 number below. That is the absolute minimum I keep in my checking account at all times, so I know that I could cover all of my living expenses if I needed to at once. Then for the fun part, I have my fun money section, which is the remaining money after I've done my savings, investments, and living expenses. Now it says I have $935 a month for fun money, but really a bulk of that gets eaten up by Home Depot because we're working on our house, or like random one-off expenses like when my car insurance is due, because I pay that every 6 months, so it's usually a lot less than that. I also actually prefer to keep my fun money budget to around 10% of my post-tax income, which would be closer to like $500, because I just don't need to spend nearly $1,000 on random stuff. I also like having these like tighter constraints on my spending because it makes me really prioritize like what I want to spend my money on, and to not cave in as easily to this culture of like overconsumption that's everywhere.